guys, and welcome to another video. And today I am doing a discussion
about the Nintendo Switch Lite
with my friend, so let's go ahead and talk about some things. So basically this is kind of like a replacement to the 3DS first off, since it's like a handheld only system.
and it is a lot more affordable.
Yeah, I mean, like, a lot of people weren't buying the original Switch since it was too expensive, so we're gonna see a lot of more people buying this system since it's at a cheaper price point, and it's pretty cool. There's gonna be a lot more people playing the Switch. It's probably gonna boost their sales a lot with this since it's $100 cheaper, and it's gonna be like a thing where families are gonna buy multiple Switches. Like, if they already have a Switch, and maybe the little brother wants his own, or maybe something like that, they'll get a Switch. And
Yeah, they could have like us, like if in the family, like they have like one Switch dedicated to the TV,
yeah.
and then like other Switches.
And then now siblings could have their own Switch. Like, let's say at Christmas, a family wants to get maybe like 2 Switches, maybe one for the one sibling, one for the other sibling, kind of like that.
Yeah. And it gives you another excuse not to share when people ask if they want to play something with you.
Yeah, and I could also see if someone's trying to save money, if it's like someone also like old enough to buy their own video game console and they just don't like really have enough money, or they just want to save money and buy more games. This is a good alternative.
This is a good alternative for the PlayStation Vita, I think.
But no one's buying the PlayStation Vita anymore.
I
That's
know.
pretty much out of the question now. The Vita
like
pretty much left the market.
Yeah,
so.
but this is like the portable console you get.
Yeah, the dimensions are actually very similar to the Vita. I was looking, except for like the resolution and the power of it. It's a lot more powerful than the Vita, and way more powerful than the 3DS. Actually, like, that's a huge generation leap between the normal 3DS and then the Switch. Well, if you were playing on maybe the new 3DS XL, and then you're moving over to the Switch Mini, that's at least maybe 3 generations of power you're gonna skip over, because the 3DS itself has about a power between the Nintendo 64 and the GameCube, like around that graphics area. It didn't really have that good graphics, and then the resolution was under 360p. I don't remember the exact resolution of the 3DS, but it was definitely not on point for even handheld gaming this generation. This is also a good alternative to mobile gaming. Also, it could like kind of also that could also compete against that. Also, more of console handheld, but it could also do mobile gaming, since this would be a lot better for like more in-depth games.
Yeah, because
than
local wireless.
Yeah. What I'm saying is like stuff like Zelda Breath of the Wild is not like anything you would find on a smartphone. Even with this cloud-based system coming up, it's more of like a game console feel, kind of like how playing the Switch in handheld mode is, except this is purely handheld. And I think this is kind of, because the Nintendo always had kind of like a handheld alternative, whether it was the Game Boy or whatever other console was alongside the Game Boy, like NES, SNES, and Nintendo 64, the GameCube and Game Boy Advance, or the GameCube and DS, then the Wii and DS, the Wii 3DS, the Wii, or the Wii U and 3DS, then the Switch and the 3DS, and the early era of the Switch, which I can't believe they actually supported the 3DS.
The next console would be the Nintendo 3D TDS, the Nintendo 3-dimensional triple screen.
What?
Yeah.
Okay, but besides that, this is basically kind of gonna be like the handheld
No, the QS, the quadruple screen.
well, this is gonna be the handheld alternative for the rest of this generation.
Yeah, but like I want to see an octo screen with 8 screens on one console.
Yeah, but they did have to cut some things from this console since it's gonna cost $200. There's gonna be no detachable controllers since it's handheld only. It's not gonna be able to be docked, no dock included. No HD rumble, no IR motion camera, which there's only like a couple games that use the IR motion camera, like 1-2 Switch and Nintendo Labo. And then HD rumble, I think even though HD rumble's not in it, there may be some kind of rumble that's still implemented into the Nintendo Switch Lite. And then no TV mode, tabletop, obviously, and yeah, but they did add a couple things which is more optimized for handheld gaming, like the D-pad, and then also, like, it's kind of more shaped like a handheld system, so it's a little better for, like, just handheld. But the Switch can be a little bulky and big at times. I wouldn't say bulky, maybe spread out, because it's a little bigger, like, rather than the 3DS being tiny, so this would be another good alternative for the Switch, or a replacement for the 3DS, since it's going to be a lot more.
Yeah, this is going to be good for, like, if you want to bring something to play on the bus, like at school, I imagine, because, you know, like, you can't really fit a Switch in your pocket.
Or even, like, work if someone's, like, has a job and they're...
Yeah, because if, like, let's just say you're at school, you can't really hide your Switch under the desk while you're playing, right? So, but, like, this is more easier to do that.
I could see, like, some, like, just, like, back when the DS, I remember, like, when I was in the playground, like, playing the DS at school, but this is gonna be like that. It's gonna be, kids on the playground playing their Nintendo Switch Lites.
Yeah.
I like how they're reusing the Lite name. It's kind of like a tradition for Nintendo, because I think they originally did that with the Game Boy, because they had the Game Boy Lite, which was a smaller version of the Game Boy.
Didn't have a back screen.
I think it had a backlight also, and then they also had the DS Lite, which you have.
Yeah, then they started doing the new.
I don't have the DS Lite, but I do have some other versions of the DS. But then they with the 3DS generation, they didn't call it the 3DS Lite since they had to take out the 3D to put it down to a lower price point. And then now in this generation, they're gonna have the Nintendo Switch Lite. And I think Lite is serving a different purpose this generation than it was the previous generations, since rather than being just like a smaller console and sometimes even more powerful, like the DS Lite's, I think, more powerful than the original DS. This, on the other hand, is basically just like the handheld alternative. It's a little different. I originally thought it was going to be called the Switch Mini because of all the leaks and rumors having it being called the Switch Mini, and everyone was referring to it as the Switch Mini, but now the Switch Lite makes a lot more sense, because the Switch Mini really sounds like just a smaller Switch that does the same things as the Switch, and I originally thought it was going to be an all-digital Switch. I was kind of worried about that, like it was going to be a handheld with no game card slot, because the switches on the screen just like...
where do you put the SD card?
SD card? On the back, they showed the models for the Switch Mini, and they showed those on the back. But I was worried that it didn't have a game card slot, and I was like, oh no, it's going the all-digital route. So, yeah, but there is, if it was all digital, if they ever made an all digital Switch, which would kind of be bad, because remember the Xbox One SAD, the Xbox One S all digital edition?
And one of the main reasons it's probably less expensive is because Joy-Cons are like $80. Is that it?
Well, the Joy-Cons are originally on the Switch, on the original one. If they didn't include...
But they start drifting after a bit, don't they?
Yeah, and I think I'm not not sure why they have a drifting problem. Some controllers, it's
not
in all controllers.
The ones you buy from the store last longer than the ones that come with the Switch, I think.
Yeah, I think, like, maybe certain distribution centers got, like, some Switches that were malfunctioning in their Joy-Cons, and I don't know the whole story behind that, but there's been a ton of people who've been getting that problem. I got that problem right around the time Super Mario Odyssey came out, and then I just, like, got new controllers more than a year later, but whatever. But I don't think this console will have that problem, since the analog sticks look a little different than the Switch, so they might be like slightly different and work slightly different on there. So sorry about that, I had to trim something out for a second since something happened. But okay, back to the discussion. Well, let's talk about something else now, the colors. I actually really like the colors on this system. They're vibrant, and they look pretty cool.
I'm upset there's no red.
Well, they're not gonna release like 10 colors on launch. It's not like
But isn't like red and pink like Nintendo's colors? Like the Nintendo, the Game Boy Color, they had all the.
Well, the thing is, I don't think like they always release red as their default color. Not always. There has been a couple 3DS editions that didn't originally come out with red.
Because they have black, red, and yellow and pink.
I think gray is more of Nintendo's default color, like with console colors. But then I really like the turquoise color. That looks pretty cool. The yellow looks nice and vibrant. Since they kind of I'm sure like a couple other YouTubers talked about it also. The blue one kind of reminds me of I know it's a slightly different hue, but Link's tunic. It kind of brings out the vibe, and then well, with the white and everything, it kind of like reminds me of that. And then the yellow kind of reminds me is actually a very similar hue to the question block from Mario. So yeah, I like the button placement also, because the capture and the home button are moved a little down compared to the Nintendo Switch. If you're like looking at a Nintendo Switch, it's a little different. It's a little farther away from the analog stick on the right side, and then on the left side, it's kind of a different placement to the D-pad on there.
Yeah.
And this kind of like optimizes handheld gaming even more, kind of like how they were originally intended to. So yeah, and they're also coming out with a Pokemon Sword and Shield edition of this, which looks awesome. It has like a blue side and a red side on there, and it has I don't want to butcher those names for the legend. Let's just say the Pokemon Sword and Shield legendaries, and it has a picture of the legendaries on the back of the Nintendo Switch Lite. And yeah, this is a really cool console. So do you have any more thoughts on this?
Oh, the Pokemon Arceus and some I don't know how to pronounce Pokemon.
I wasn't pronouncing them since I was just saying the legendaries.
Oh, very cool.
So yeah, thank you guys for watching this video. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe for more. Goodbye.
Bye.